Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the fourth instruction session of Business Masterclass. Is it Business Tech Masterclass? And today we are talking emails. If you remember, in the last sessions, we talked CRMs and how to basically provide the content to our audience, where to provide content to our audience, and the different platforms and tools that are used there. After that, we talked about integrations and how basically different platforms like payment platforms or email CRMs are integrated with your basically content management systems, with your CMS. Now that is done, the question is, all right, how do we get our clients back? So we managed to create a landing page. We designed a beautiful sales page. We got them in. They were interested. They bought the product. Hallelujah. Perfect. And now they're gone. So we would love to, there's a lot of communication that generally goes into basically having people back, or even a lot of communication from the point of contact, which is the landing page, all the way to the sales page. There's a lot of more value that we can add to our clients to make sure that they finally get to that sales page. So today we're going to talk about all of that. So without further ado, let us get started. So what we are, I'm just going to quickly share my screen. There we go. So what we're talking about today is essentially quite simple, but it's again another point where a lot of entrepreneurs lose money on, because it is it's one of the most important means of marketing and communication. And tools can be quite expensive when it comes to email marketing. So yes, email marketing and automation is our topic today. We're going to talk about business email providers all together, like what are the options, which ones should we pay for, which ones we shouldn't really pay for. Creating business email accounts for free is the second thing we're going to cover. We will take a quick, very short look at HTML and plain text editors for email. So basically, a good example of that would be your Windows Notepad versus a Microsoft Office Word, for instance. We're going to talk about blacklists and basically, or what we best know of as spams and spam folders, something we all hate. And every now and then, some of our emails land there. And then there's always that discrepancy with our clients. Oh, did you receive my emails? No, I never got your email. What happened? So we're going to take a look and see why and how to fix it if that happens. And finally, we're going to do a comparison of two different types of automation that we can create. One is the free one that we can create on our hosting services, as we will get to it. And the other ones are the paid or CRM based options. So let's get started. First things, who can you trust? What should you pay for? Emails can be quite expensive. There are basically email marketing services and packages that can go up to $4,000 or $5,000 a month. I didn't know that. Yes, exactly. So to gather this, to basically put together the content of this session, I did a little bit of research just to see how things have changed, and things have changed quite a lot. There are companies that give email marketing, offer email marketing packages that apparently convert at a very high rate, but they sell them for like $4,000 a month. So yes, that made me question everything I have been thinking in the last, I don't know, year or two, because in the last year or two, I kept thinking that, okay, emails are sort of dead. Emails are, nobody really cares about emails because they're social media. But then when I saw how the number of emails that are sent every day worldwide, I went back to my first position of thought, that is, emails are the most important means of online communication. Guys, can you unmute yourself for a second? Give me a guess. How many emails do you think are sent and are sent overall? Like they go into the network loop every day in United States alone? Give me a number.
Millions.
I would get like
Billions?
8.9 billion.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's a lot.
Only in the United States. Now, here's the thing. Here is the more interesting part of it. So let's say 9 billion. How many of these do you think are actually sent by people?
About 1 billion.
Less than 1 billion. About
Wow.
400 million. And every other, so basically like 95% or maybe more is automated emails are robots, and only a very tiny fraction of it is sent by humans. So that really, we were talking about Skynet with you guys a couple of sessions ago. I mean, it's really it. Robots have such special, like online, like programmed robots are. When I say robot, I don't mean a physical robot like that. I'm talking about the queries of code that they have AI integrated into them, so they can decide how to react to something necessarily. But they play such an important role in our marketing that if we don't know how to use them, we either lose a lot of money or we never get what we want. So let's take a look at the top three. The top three email providers that can help us dip in that large number of emails that are being sent and received on an automated basis. So people don't even need to click a button, nothing. The first one, the love of everyone's life, G Suite. Now, as one of, you see, emails are still very primitive, yes, but they are not really as primitive as they were. And that is the reason they're becoming more and more dynamic every day. So they're becoming very popular. Now, considering this great quality that people expect, there are packages like Google G Suite that bring you not just emails, but everything that goes with the email. Now, G Suite obviously doesn't come that cheap, but it's still cheaper than many other options, like the one I told you, $4,000 a month. Now, what do you get with G Suite? The most important thing that you get with G Suite is access to all of your tools in the same place. So that's why if you read the description I wrote in the previous slide, actually here, G Suite is the most popular collection of business apps and services. So I'm not saying that G Suite is the best option only for emails, but overall to run a business, if you have G Suite, you have everything. So I'm not denying that paying for this, even like paying for a Business Plus package and purchasing it, can actually be worth for a lot of people who don't really want to deal with the hassle of like servers and this and that. So you just pay Google and they do everything for you. All right, good, perfect. Is the quality of everything super high? No, not necessarily. But because it's Google, I put it as number one, because whatever you do here is applied to the face of your business worldwide immediately. It's Google. They are the mecca of SEO. So everything you do here, it happens on your business right there and then. Again, for example, these packages also include Google websites. Are they nice websites to have? No way. They're really ugly. The tools are very basic. But that's why, if you remember, when we were talking about CMS systems, I said, if you have a WordPress website, also create a free Google website for yourself. So this is the first option. I'm going to go through this very quickly because this is not the real reason we are here today. You already could buy these if you wanted to. The second option I would recommend is Microsoft 365. Now, that being said, before I go and explain this one, even with Google, if you want to have your own custom email, your business email, let's say lease@leaselevine.com, you still need to buy the domain and attach it to your Google account. So, and the costs are not only what you see here necessarily or in the following slides. There are also a lot of other costs that come on the side. And this is the reason we're actually having this session. Microsoft 365, let's look at it as in being a more complete version of G Suite. So basically, Google imitated Microsoft Office and Microsoft 365 to create G Suite. So that is why this is more expensive. That is why this is like, you can go here on Microsoft 365, you can go up to, on business version, can go up to like 22 or 25 bucks a month, US dollars. So it's slightly more expensive than Google G Suite. And you still need to buy your domain and you still need to all of those things, but you get access to Microsoft Office, which is just that product alone is something people really love. It's an amazing product. Obviously, I think the money is worth it. That's why I went with Microsoft 365 for some of my own work. Not for my custom emails, I will explain to you why. But for other things, absolutely. And finally, my nemesis. I hate them. for various reasons that I cannot say here right now because this video might go public later. But both Google and Microsoft, if you go and want to create that custom email, business email, they tell you need to buy a domain. When you say, okay, buy a domain, they direct you here. They direct you to GoDaddy. So they have partnered with GoDaddy. So that basically what I'm saying is that that service that these two, Microsoft and Google, are offering as your business email, that's actually a GoDaddy business email service added to the package that they have for Microsoft Word and everything else. So if you are only and only interested in the business email, number one, forget about the options 1 and 2, come to option 3. Okay. So now, who is this good for? You see, you can get like email essentials for like 4 Canadian dollars a month. What is that? 20 US cents, I think, with the economy that we have these days.
Something like
Something
yeah.
like that. Yeah, 25 cents. Sorry, my bad, Canada. Oops. But thank you, Mr. Trudeau. I should edit this out. Anyway, that being said, you see, basically this, what you're seeing here, business email, 50 gigabytes of email storage plus Office and everything else, you're getting it for $14 Canadian dollars here, right? Microsoft. So this is Microsoft package. You see, there's even Office inside it, right? Microsoft sells this for $22, for 22 US dollars. So when you're selecting your tools, really, really compare them and see where they're going, what they're getting, where they're getting their stuff from. Like that is the reason I said I didn't sign up for the custom email or business email. Actually, when I signed up for Microsoft 365, I got a personal Office sort of version, $70 or something, very cheap, much cheaper than that monthly plan. But getting a business, if you want to get the business plan because of the business email, don't waste your time. You have this much cheaper, much cheaper. There you go. So would I use this personally? It really depends. Now, with a show of hand, or go to your part. I think it's your participants box. You have thumb up, thumb down, or other things. Give me a thumbs up if you do own a hosting service somewhere. Okay, George gave me a thumbs up. Okay, other people, I know you have. Okay, Caesar, I know you have, but you might have to fight Jordan to get it. Again, Lisa, I know you have. So everybody here has a hosting service, right? Good. If you have a hosting service, you don't need any of these. So options 1, 2, and 3 are for people who do not own a hosting service. If you own a hosting service, you can actually create your own. Everything that you get there and more, you can actually set up for yourself. So I know that a lot of people, business people, are not really interested in spending their own time doing this. So I totally understand that that's why a lot of businesses go with options 1, 2, and 3. That's why we started with those. But this is in case you have a website, a web designer created an email for you, like george@georgeverdilaga.com, and today, all of a sudden, your emails are not working. So this is where all of those emails have been set up. Let's take a look at them. You see, I wanted to go through this script, but we already talked about this. People say, "Oh, emails! You need to buy email service from here." No, you don't. If your answer is yes to these 3 questions, then you don't need it. Number 1, do you own a domain? Number 2, do you host your website somewhere? Just anywhere, any hosting service, doesn't matter. As long as you have cPanel, you're good. Okay. Number 3, do you know how to use your smartphone or computer? If these 3, if it's yes, 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 then you have free emails. You can have unlimited free email accounts. Let's take a look at them. If you go back to sessions 1, 2, and 3, actually, we have worked on cPanel quite a lot. And we saw on cPanel, there are many different sections. I'm just going to quickly, let's give 1 second to exit this. If you remember on cPanel, there were many different sections. Now you're looking at this cPanel on HostGator. There are, like we said, there are options that are offered by that basically company themselves sometimes. like Website Essentials, but the sections that you see are pretty much standard in all cPanels across different companies. One of the things that we get here that we never really talked about is emails. Let's take a quick look and see what we get here. You have the option to create an email accounts. In my case, because of my hosting service that I got, it's unlimited email accounts with unlimited space for each one. So I can make 1 million email accounts and each one can have unlimited gigabytes of data storage inside it. Webmail, we're going to get to that in a second. There are email forwarders. What is an email forwarder and why do we use it? You see, when email forwarders, like the name suggests, obviously, are email forwarders, and they're good only and only for one reason. If you want to have all of your emails in one inbox. And that's actually a very good practice. I really like it. There are cons and pros that we're going to talk about that in a second. But essentially what I'm saying is like creating an email account is not that easy. Creating a forward is not that hard. Sorry. Creating an email forwarder, same. Let's actually take a look at it. Let's say I want to receive all of my emails in one specific email account. I have 20 email accounts. Let's actually take a look at that first before we go here. So right now, let's say on this server, I have these email accounts. What an email forwarder does is that I can, for example, forward everything that is here to this very first one, or even to another email account that does not exist here. Now, how do we create an email account? If you remember, I came to cPanel. I went to email section. I clicked on email accounts. Which one of your domains do you want to create an email with? So this is basically because an email has two sections. You have the email name or the email index, and you have the domain. So in this case, I want to make it with my new domain, 604 referrals, whatever that is. There's my @sign, and I want to create an info @sign. Let's select the password. Let's call our password. I don't need to say my password. Yay, congratulations. Now, generally making an email account anywhere on Google or is free, it's easy. So same should be on yours, definitely. But unlike Google, who asks you 5 zillion questions before they give you your email account, on your own system, you see, I wrote this, I selected the domain, I wrote the password. I'm going to click unlimited space, create account. Job done. Congratulations, you just created a business email account with your own domain on it. It's that easy. Now, I want to quickly switch back to my presentation here, if I can. After you have created this, all you need to do is to log into your email account once. That's it. And why is that? You see, Google or other email providers have their own email software. There's software that understands what an email is, analyzes that, shows it to you, and when you respond to it, it understands what exactly to do with it. Okay. Now, there are two basic, when I say basic, I don't mean primitive. I mean, like they're very popular because they always work and because they're very simple lines of code. There are two different softwares. One is called Horde and one is called Roundcube. If you're a cPanel user, you have the option to select one of these as your email processor. So every time that you want to create a new email account, in this case, we just created info@604 referrals. Make sure that number one, that you log into your webmail once, at least once. What is webmail? Webmail is the cPanel version of Google or Gmail, basically. Webmail is the mail platform, the mail section of your cPanel. So I'm going to select one of these two. Does it make any difference? Not really. The looks of them are slightly different. I will just show you. So in this case, I'm going to click Horde, set it as default, and set this as my default platform for my emails. You will just see what the difference is. I usually go with Roundcube. It gives you more tools to play with. In this case, right now, congratulations, you're in your inbox. I have my inbox, draft, sent, other folders that I can create, calendars, address book, so on and so forth. So basically, you have everything that you want here right now. I'm going to log out very quickly because I want to log into another one of my accounts, which is done with, let's do with this, which is done with Roundcube, so you can see what the difference is. There you go. Now you remember what Horde looked like. This is how Roundcube looks like. So it's pretty much, they have pretty much the same number of features. Horde looks more user-friendly. This looks more basic and sort of programmer-like, I guess, I would say. Makes no difference which one you use. But right now that you have this, you can send an email and receive an email. Let's leave it here for a second. What are the options that we get with this? First of all, you can send two different types of emails. You can send HTML emails and plain text emails. Do we really use plain text emails? No, not anymore. Not in this day. What do I mean by plain text? Notepad is an example of plain text. There are no fonts. There's no size. Nothing. It's just text. Nothing else. HTML is like Microsoft Office, where you can change, like Word, where you can change the shapes and you can add CSS code into it. In a way, how the Office Word, the Microsoft Word works is actually just like a web page. So we're going to get to that in a second. Now, we're going to get to this section in a second, the elephant in the room that nobody talks about. But before I go there, I'm going to take a second, ask everyone if you have any questions so far. If you need me to explain anything before I go any further, go ahead and ask it right now.
Actually, I don't know if this is a question or a comment. Like Microsoft Office, is there any way to avoid Microsoft Office? You can't, right? Because when you power up your...
Yeah, well, yes, if you are an Apple user, first, I'm sorry, but second, yeah, there are Apple users have their own software too. There's the, what do you call, Evernote is one of the softwares, or Keynote for presentation. So they have their own version. They're nice, I have to say. I have to admit.
You guys have to pay, the Apple people? Because with Microsoft, every year you have to pay a minimum of something just to be able to get the...
There is a free version that comes with OS X, but if you want all the features, you should, just like Microsoft Office, you should buy the basically the Pro version and pay annually. Yeah,
escaping paying.
Nothing is for free, my friend. Nothing is for free. They want your money. The new, okay, so I'm totally off topic now that you took me there. The new Apple desktop costs, are you ready? $10,000 US. Thank you. Now, first of all, it looks like a cheese grater, so it's weird and looks like a spaceship, but that's not the point. The case itself, sorry, $12,000. My apologies. Yes, the $12,000 US. The computer itself, the case is, I believe, $6,000. Yes, $6,000. The monitor is $5,000. Now, where did that $1,000 go? That's the monitor stand. $1,000 US. Hi, Apple users. Nice to know you. You are rich people. Hi, Lisa. I love you. But anyway, but I have that being said, for that $12,000, you get the best quality computer you cannot even dream of. We should say that too. All right, let's get back to work. And if there are no other questions, I showed you how to create your email account. We're going to get to forwarders and everything else in a second. But I just want to show you one last thing. How do you set this up on your own computer? If you have Windows 10 Mail on your computer, this should happen automatically. You just write your email, you write your password, and it will figure it out. If you have Outlook, then you're at the mercy of gods. That means sometimes you write your email and password and it figures it out, done. Congratulations. And it's like really surprising. But in 99% of cases, you will have to actually manually set up your mail. How do you do that? Let's say I just created this info at 604 referrals and I want to set it up on my software. And for whatever reason, my software says you need to do it manually. When that's the case, I need to go to this section, set up mail clients. When I click on this, it shows me two different settings. One is secure or SSL settings, or SSL TLS settings, basically, and then the non-SSL. Which one should I use? It's simple. Is your website SSL or non-SSL? Is it an HTTP or HTTPS? I just created this for 604 referrals. So let's take a look. I'm just going to go to 604 referrals. If I don't remember if it's HTTP or HTTPS, just go to your website on your browser. Wait for it. Actually, I don't even think I have a website on here. Yeah, sorry about that. But you will see if you have this padlock up here or not. If you have the padlock is HTTPS or it's SSL. If there's no padlock, non-SSL. So it's always recommended to have an SSL certificate, even a cheap or a free one, doesn't matter. Clients love to see that secured icon up there, even though it really means nothing. That doesn't secure or insecure any websites, but let me just say it that way. And SSL that actually has any security effect, the prices start at 70 to 100 US dollars. So all the free stuff that we get with our hosting, they're worthless. But anyway, speaking of emails, you need to decide which one it is. Your username is your email address. Your password is a password you selected when you were creating it. You will need to provide your software. In this case, I'm talking about Outlook. You will need to provide it with your incoming server address and one of these two codes. I don't want to get in too much details because it becomes a headache, but incoming servers have two different protocols, IMAP and POP3, and even your softwares allow for these two protocols. So select one of them, makes, again, no difference. I usually go with IMAP because it's first, 993, I always remember it on my own server. You insert these, and it's also your outgoing server, which is usually the same thing as your incoming server, and your SMTP port. So this is only and only in case you're using a software that is really annoying. I'm not pointing fingers. I'm not showing you any softwares that are really annoying. This is not Outlook. And when you decide to go ahead and add a, let's say, add a new account settings, add account, like, you would hope that if you go like info at 604 referrals and I say, oh, sorry, damn, back 604referrals.com, and I just say connect, it should ask for the password. And if I put in the password, it should connect. And maybe it does. Many other cases, it doesn't. As you can see right now, it's just asking, what the hell is info at 604referrals.com? Case in point. That is when you actually select to go to advanced options and you insert the items that we discussed. We insert either SSL or non-SSL, incoming and outgoing servers. All right. Now, is there a guarantee that people get our emails? No, not really. And I will tell you why. Internet has a lot of watchdogs and a lot of cops around. So they really love to pick on everything and just to say, oh, that's bad content, I'm going to arrest it. It's very much, if you have lived in a third world country like Iran, police are like that pretty much. You're just walking, you're minding your own business, and they're like, oh, you're minding your own business, come with me. It's pretty much the same concept on the internet, and I will just show you in a second. But how to avoid this? Number one, when you created a new email address, make sure that you send an email to major email providers. Like what? Like Gmail, like Yahoo, like Outlook, like others. This simply tells those servers to trust your server. That's it. and send it to your own email. And the reason, if your Gmail finds this email as spam, you can move it back to inbox. Doing this action is called whitelisting. It simply means, no, this is not spam. Trust this certificate and trust this server. So in this case, I'm in the wrong email address, but let's say whatever. Let's say I've just created this. I'm going to send an email to, let's say, my own Gmail address. And subject, I don't know, test mail. And yes, I want to see this as an HTML. Makes no difference because most probably you are never going to come back here to webmail. You're always going to use your own software on your desktop, like Outlook or whatever that it is. But anyhow, and this is a test email. So make sure that you do this. You send an email to yourself. Make sure it doesn't land in your spam. It shouldn't. And then respond and reply to that email. Again, reply to that email. You just learned that there are two servers that dominate emails. And there are two servers that can tag your emails as spam. Incoming server and outgoing server. Even your Gmail has incoming servers and outgoing servers. When we sent an email from here to my Gmail's incoming server accepted this email and now is trusting it. I need to make sure that my outgoing server trusts it too. So always go to your, whatever, I don't need that anymore, thank you. Always go to your, there you go. We have it here, right? This is a test email. Go to your actual Gmail and respond to it. Yes. Okay. Now that that is done, we have taken the first step to make sure our emails do not end in spam. But sometimes they still do. Sometimes even this email that you sent from your Gmail end up in spam. Sometimes the emails that you sent from even the most secured and trusted servers ends up in spam. Why is that? There are something called blacklists, the same watchdogs that we were just talking about. I'm just going to get rid of this. Go, oh my God, Zoom, get out, move, please. Thank you. Okay. There are watchdogs on the internet. I'm going to go back to my presentation. And these watchdogs, and I'm sorry, I'm using the word watchdog, but really because they act as watchdogs. They are supposed not to think, but to react. So it is completely normal that you have been sending an email from a certain account to a certain person for many years, and you have never had any issues. And then all of a sudden, your emails are ending up in spam folder. So it's because of these watchdogs. They create lists, and well, obviously we call them blacklists or spam lists. Now, is there a way to avoid them? Yes, we just talked about the sending and receiving an initial email just to make other major servers trust us. But what if I'm sending an email from my SketchPros email to George Verdolaga email? There's no major email address involved here. How should I make George's email address trust mine? You see, we said that emails have two sections. They have email index and they have domain name, like info for email index, @604referrals.com, which is a domain name, right? We also learned that everything that has to do with your domain name is controlled through something called DNS, data name servers. Sounds familiar, right? Good. When we wanted to connect our domain to our hosting, we changed the name servers. But we talked about name servers, but we never actually talked about DNS. What is data name server? DNS is comprised of many different lines of very simple code called records. So let me actually go to one of my DNS here. Let's go here and let's take a look at it. Do you want to know what exactly sketchpros.com means? Do you remember session 1 when we were talking about IPs and connecting and da 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 da? This is the moment all of that is going to make sense. I'm going to go to one of my DNS tools. I'm going to select one of my domains. Let's go with sketchpros.com. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what exactly sketchpros.com is. The name sketchpros.com, these separate lines of query. What are they? We're going to get to them in a second. There's a lot of them on this website, on sketchpros.com. Reason, a lot of them don't even belong to this website. A lot of them belong to my other websites, to my client websites or other websites that I'm hosting on my hosting service. So this would not be a very good example, but you get the idea. That there are actually simple basic lines of code that give that direction to your domain. When people type in sketchpros.com, it is this line, actually this line that tells that computer to connect to this IP address. Okay, now let's go to a simpler domain here. Let's go to my, I don't know, let's go to my TechMaster Academy. Now, TechMaster Academy has fewer, still quite a bit, but fewer. There are different types of records. A record, type A, is the most important, which actually gives direction to, it gives the main directions to people who try to access this domain. For people who want to access the domain itself, so the first record is saying is that if somebody wants to go to TechMaster Academy, the data should be found here. If somebody wants to, you see that there's also a mail.techmasteracademy.com. This is my incoming and outgoing server, which is now defined here. Do you need to understand this? No, not really. It's only enough to know that, you see, all of your email is also connected to your domain. So number one, your emails are not being delivered or they're not even being sent. First, check your domain. Before you even check your emails, you might be going over your email settings up, down, left, right, and oh my God, it doesn't work. First, try and log into your email through webmail, not through your software, just to make sure that the email is actually working, okay? Then if you go to your webmail, oh, no, I cannot send any emails, or no, my webmail doesn't even load sometimes, then you know, oh, the issue is bigger than that. So what is bigger than webmail? It's this, the DNS. I never suggest you to edit these yourselves. You can easily contact this tech support of your hosting or your wherever that you have your domain. They can easily fix that for you. So I really do not recommend editing DNS records unless you really know what you're doing. But I just wanted to note it to you, if one day you're having issues with your emails, this is one of the places you need to check.
I have a question. Or can I ask you right now? Or do
Yeah, please go ahead.
I think I had an issue earlier this year that had something to do with this. Someone had been corresponding for a year. Suddenly, I'm not getting their emails. It's not even an issue of my email or their email going into spam filters. It's totally, I'm not getting anything.
You're not getting anything.
Yeah. So this is this problem.
Most probably your incoming server is not working. What I would recommend is, like I said, first, whatever email that is, let's say george@sungeorgeverdelaga.com, go to your hosting, okay? Go to your hosting, go to your cPanel, go to your actual webmail. And the first thing you should try before touching anything else, or even before playing around with your Outlook, before any of those, you need to come here, go to that email, find george@georgeverdelaga.com, and go to access your webmail. Just check, does it open?
Mm-hmm.
Send an email and receive an email from here.
Okay.
You might be surprised that, oh, then you see, oh, I have 2,000 emails here that I haven't seen. Why? Because I updated my Outlook, and in the update, it decided to destroy some of my data. So Outlook is not downloading my emails anymore. So this is how you can troubleshoot it.
Because I tried calling Gmail. I'm not sure if that was the right approach. And then they tried to test by sending me emails from there.
Yeah.
So So they were able to send to me. So I was like, oh, that's weird. But
Can I ask you what email address it is?
it was my George at flowformdesign.com.
So that is on your hosting company. Okay, yes. First,
Yeah.
try this. First,
Oh,
actually go and check your webmail and then send yourself an email from your webmail and respond to it. Then you can pinpoint where the problem is.
it wasn't a Gmail issue, actually, is what you're saying.
Yeah, it shouldn't be a Gmail issue. It has nothing to do with Gmail necessarily.
Help me.
Yep. No, don't worry. Stay tuned until the end of this session. You might actually find three more interesting things that you're gonna fix that are gonna help you fix your emails. Because interesting, you say that. 1 month into starting my business, officially launching my company, registering, get super happy, banners up, yay! I was quite depressed because it was 3 days I didn't have any inquiries from any clients. And oh my God, it's going quiet out here. Does it mean I'm going out of business? I checked my webmail. There are 60 emails I had not received on my desktop software. I changed my software to Outlook. This is honestly the reason I'm using Outlook. Outlook is a pain in the neck setting up, but once you set it up, it works like a charm, right? But I was using Windows 10 Mail, and past a certain day, it just stopped working. I wasn't receiving any emails. I actually lost 4 potential clients because of that. I know. So let's go back to what we were doing. Now, blacklists. What the hell are blacklists? How to get rid of them? You see, what a blacklist does is this. It basically keeps a track of your DNS record. Simple as that. Every time that there is an email coming from, let's say, 604 referrals or Techmaster Academy, those watchdogs will check the content. That's the first thing they will check. And let me just quickly, where am I? 1 second, DNS, where are you? I cannot see you. I'm getting blind. Ah, there you go. So every time I send, let's go Techmaster Academy. I send an email from Techmaster Academy. Those watchdogs will check the content, and they will also check this. And also depends, sometimes you also have a type of record called MX record. That is also an email related record, okay? So it checks for A records and MX records. And if it feels even slightly that your content might be, what is the word for it? Malicious? Yeah, I guess. Malicious content, then it will not just block that email. No, it will put this IP address in a blacklist. So that means every email you have from, maybe on this Techmaster Academy right now, I have 4 email addresses. I have info, I have admin, I have something Sherlock and something else, okay? If one of them lands in a blacklist, all of them will land in a blacklist. So this is another thing I need to tell you. Does it happen only to cPanel type? No, this happens to everyone. This happens to Google themselves too. The Google actually has a team who, like a team of humans who actually sit down and scan blacklists every 10 minutes for Gmail related emails. And then if they find it, they communicate with their client. Did you send an email that caused this to happen? If not, they actually pay to get Gmails out of blacklists. So again, this does not happen only to you. This happens even to large companies like Google, like everyone. The only thing is that they actually have people who go after it to bring it out of the blacklist. If it happens to your domain, even if you buy it from Microsoft, like we spoke, because that is done through your domain, if your emails land in blacklist, it's still you who needs to go after it and fix it. They cannot do anything for you. So if you get Sherlock @ Techmaster Academy, but if I get this email not from here, from Microsoft, for example, or from Google, from wherever, doesn't matter. One day when my emails land in a blacklist, they cannot do anything for me. Google can only help you with @gmail.com emails. That's it. So be careful. That's what we needed to know about DNS. If there are no certain questions, you don't really need to know more details about this. Just know enough that if one day you're having spam issues, if you're landing in people's spams, it might be a good idea to come and talk to your tech support and tell them, say, hey, can you check my records? Can you check my DNS? Can you tell me why I'm landing in blacklists? Now, how can you figure out that you're in a blacklist? Should I wait until one of my clients gets mad at me and says, hey, you are not responding to my emails, not knowing that you are responding, but they're all in the junk mail? There are different ways. These are the 3 most popular websites that they're actually robots that go ahead and scan all of the blacklists on the internet on your behalf. Is it a very bad thing to land in a blacklist? No, not really. I bet you, we're going to go and check actually right now. We're going to check one of my domains. There is completely normal to be enlisted in 1 or 2 or 3 places. There are 10,000 lists. So let's take a look at it. I'm just going to open MX Toolbox. This is one of the easiest ones to use. All you need to do is to put in your server IP or your domain name, and then blacklist check. Done. Do this for all of your emails regularly, not just your personal emails. Check your Gmail, check your Yahoo email, check your Outlook, because like I said, even those can land in blacklists. So let's take a look at it. In this case, I'm going to, but the only thing is here, if you want to check with this tool, you can only check domain itself. So I should put gmail.com, I guess, because that's basically the domain you get your Gmail from, correct? So in this case, I want to test one of my own emails, one of my own domains. What it's doing is that right now it's going to my domain, getting the record, finding the mail records, finding these, going to and then it automatically goes back to all the lists and asks them, hey, first list, do you have this stored on you? Says, no, I don't have it. It's okay. Next one, next one, next one, next one, next one, and so on and so forth. Okay. So this would be a very good idea. Check blacklists for your own domains, especially if you have multiple domains. If you use email actively as a core of your business, I do recommend you to actually do this maybe once a month, once every 2 weeks, even if you can. I don't know. I personally care about my emails a lot, so I do this regularly. There are a few hints that I can give you. Number 1, try not to send very large files. Try not to send multiple files. Try to avoid automated emails as much as you can. Okay, robot created emails are generally tagged as malicious, and we don't really use them. We use something else called Autoresponder or different kind of automation, which have a touch of human inside them. Humans write the content, and then a machine just sends it regularly. We're going to get to that. That is absolutely fine, but try not to have, there are robots you can buy that create content. There is AI robots that actually read your email, understand it, and respond to it. Does anybody have Google Pixel phone? If you get the new Google Pixel phone, my wife bought it. It just blew my mind. Like when somebody calls, if you're in a meeting, you can still answer, but not with talking, with text. Okay. So you can look at your screen, but you don't want to talk because you're in a meeting. So when the person is, do you have a secretary, type of secretary that answers your phone? Asks, hey, and says, hey, Sherlock is in a meeting right now. But he can see what you're saying. What would you like me to tell him? Gets the message, turns the voice into a script, writes, can even understand multiple languages. It writes it on the screen for you. And then this is the part that really blew my mind. So far, it was okay. The part that really blew my mind is that you have the option to either type back your answer or you can turn on Google suggestions. What does it do? It understands the question that the person says or the message, checks your calendar, checks your contacts, checks your messages, checks your other emails, and then says, these three answers look like the answers, Sherlock, you would give. Would you like to give A, B, or C? And they are completely customized to my personality. That is the type of automation I'm talking about. Using that on emails. Yes, Lise, exactly. Skynet is here. I know. But that is a type of automation that if we use on emails, which is somehow popular, like pharmaceutical companies use it a lot for marketing and other purposes. And marketing companies use it a lot. But we cannot really use it because it forces our emails to land in spam folders. How do marketing companies do it? Why do I get, how is it that I'm talking about Mars to my wife and then I go on YouTube and there's an advertisement about Mars chocolate bar, whatever. They actually pay blacklists not to blacklist them. So what marketing companies are doing is actually technically illegal. Based on the laws of the internet, it's illegal. But they pay blacklists so that they don't get blacklisted. Make sense? All right. Welcome to the online world. It's shitty, I know. Now,
bribery.
What?
Is that called bribery?
It is. It's really a crazy house. Like you would be surprised when you see how these robots are working on the back end. What we are seeing of the internet is only a very tiny glimpse of only the surface. What happens underneath when you really dig in is like, oh my God, I didn't know that I knew that we were living in 2020, but I didn't know that we were living in 2020. Like, it's that bad. Anyhow, make sure that whatever report you get, make sure that you always read the reports completely, because different platforms give you different reports. So MX Toolbox, Ultra Tools is another one. Let me actually go there too. Go back here. I want to take you there. Ultra Tools is another tool I put here. It's actually very good. Some of these tools give you reports. They tell you why your email or your IP address or whatever is being blacklisted. So you can actually go and work on it. Okay. Now, this is what you need to do. Figure out what's wrong. Find if 1 in a billion, if you get blacklisted, it's not the end of the world. Number one, figure out what's wrong. Read the full report to understand what exactly is going on. If they don't give you a full report, they usually have an email address. You can contact them and say, hey, I just ran my domain and I realized that I'm blacklisted with you. Why is that? Tell me. Because they cannot just blacklist everyone they want. There are laws that apply to them as well. Why do they have contact? Because most blacklists charge you money to whitelist you. That's why they want you to contact them. So I don't want you to pay them. Contact them and say, hey, what the hell? What's wrong? What's going on? Okay. Once you know what's wrong and they say, yeah, if you pay us $40, we're going to clear your name and everything. Say, it really depends. If you don't have the time, you want your emails to be fixed immediately, sometimes you just have to pay the money. And yes, I have paid that money too. In my case, it was $18. But it can happen. Okay? It can happen. But then the good thing is, once you pay them once, because you actually have a file with them, you will never be blacklisted with them again. There's also that bonus. Now, this is all of those 40 or 20 now, they have deals. Google pays to these companies to whitelist Gmails. The free Gmail that we get, do you know how much money Google actually spends to give that service to us? It's ridiculous. It's a huge amount of investment they've made, and they give it away for free. This should tell you how much they count on Gmail as being their first point of contact with their clients. They are they're okay spending that much money to get you in for free, because then they can sell you G Suite and Workspace and Google Site and this and that and that and that and that. Now, not an economy class, but anyway, so first find the issue. Usually the issue has to do, they say, yes, you send this type of content and everything. Send them an email and say, I will not send that content again, and you were not aware that this would count as malicious. Send that email, go to your DNS company, okay? Go to GoDaddy, go to wherever you have it, and say, hey, do you mind changing my mail, incoming, outgoing servers, please? Thank you. They do that. Yes, your previous server is still blacklisted, but you just change your IP, or you change your DNS records for free. Why would you want to pay $40? If I knew this back then, I wouldn't have paid that $18. Because again, remember, what these people save is your IP address or your domain name. And basically what they save is not even these. What they save is your record. What they save is these. So if you update this, if I edit this, then they don't have it anymore. It's back to normal. Make sense? But like I said, I don't recommend you doing this yourself. I do recommend you to contact them and explain to them, hey, so this is what has happened. I have not sent any spam, but these people have tagged my domain as spam. Can you help me? Can you update my DNS? Can you change my DNS in a way that this solves it? Like HostGator does it. GoDaddy did it for me once. So it's a common practice. It's not something surprising if you ask them for this. Now, we're going to get here as well. But before that, we need to just finalize talking about blacklists and getting to automations. Does anybody have any questions about blacklists and spams? If you're okay, please give me a thumbs up. Can you click the thumbs up? Yes. All right. Everybody good? Thank you, thank you, thank you. Right on. So guys, there's not much left. I know you're tired, but don't worry, bear with me. We're almost there. This is where we are going to talk about automations and CRM. So what is CRM again? Now, some people call it customer retention and management. I don't know, but it's actually known as customer relationship management. That's how I know it. Now, CRMs are basically, like we have talked about them before, such as Mailchimp or ActiveCampaign or Aweber, so on and so forth, are the platforms that allow you to communicate with your audience. And as we spoke, email being the most popular and the most powerful means of communication on the internet, these companies, have been providing a lot of services that did not exist maybe 10, 15 years ago. Let's take a look. If you look at Mailchimp, this is like, again, a free account. So a lot of tools are not available here. But I can create, like, look at it right now. I have created 3 campaigns for my Techmaster Academy. I've sent both of them. It can tell me how many people opened it, what percentage, so on and so forth. I can even have an automated welcome email, for instance, which is always sending everybody, this is a new opt-in that I created. Every time somebody submits their name and email, they get an email. They get an email from here. So number one, I myself use these. I myself would happily pay for these and keep them forever, because they're actually the best tools that could come up on the internet for the sake of marketing. So I'm not going to waste time talking about this, but these develops caused open source developers to provide the same type of features to their users. So if you look at your cPanel, the email section, email accounts and webmail that we talked about are not the only things. We also have email forwarders that we talked about. We can, by the way, do you remember the DNS change that I just told you, adding a record? HostGator actually gives me a tool so I can create a new record for myself. I don't even need to contact them. So every time I get blacklisted, I just change my MX and I'm done. Thank you. Right? The only headache is that once I change the DNS of one domain, let's say if I have 20 emails on that, I have to go and update all of those emails again. That's the only headache behind it. So the manual labor will be on myself. There are also autoresponders. So basically the same thing that Mailchimp gave me here, I have it for free. I can create an autoresponder. Now, autoresponders on different versions of cPanel may have different features. So what you're seeing here on my cPanel, you might not see the same thing on yours, or you might see more options on yours. I'm not really sure. But in this case, what HostGator cPanel allows me to do is to create an autoresponder for per domain. So what does it mean? I want people to, for example, here it allows you to select the character set, which is UTF-8 is a regular one we use for normal typing. It allows me to select the email address I want to send from, which domain I'm selecting. Okay, so actually I can go, hey, make an autoresponder, for example, for this email for info@sketchbros.com. Okay. What is my from name? What is my subject? For example, RE, blah, whatever that it is. This message contains HTML, and that's where we're going to talk about it. I'm going to click this, and that's it. Write my body. So every time somebody sends an email to info@sketchbros, they're going to get this. All right. This is one kind of autoresponder. You can also use the autoresponder and mix it with another feature, the mailing list feature, which gives you this. This, I am pretty certain none of you are going to use. So I'm not going to waste any more time talking about it, because you all, if one way or another, you all have an actual CRM for yourself. Even I myself do. Do I use the autoresponder here? No, why would I? This one exists. But if that's for any reason I cannot access that, if for any reason I don't want to use that, then you have this option. What I do want to talk about is this section. It's getting too tiring, I know, but I promise you this is the last piece of the hard material. What is HTML? Hypertext something, whatever. It's a rich text. This was, again, for the last time, I promise I will not repeat myself. This is an example of plain text. Okay, you don't have any options for font. You don't have any options for size or anything else. It's only the text that matters. Make sense? However, no, I don't want to save that. Why would I want to save that? However, this one, the lovely Microsoft product, this is an HTML editor. This is actually a web editor. Did you know that in Web 1, we talked about, if you remember, it was a one-way version of internet. People actually, like developers actually created, let me see if we still have that. Do you remember? Oh, WordPad, yes. People actually created their pages on WordPad. They saved it as HTML files and they uploaded it on the internet. So this is yes, forget about Office. I forgot we have that. This is the most basic HTML editor. What is HTML? I can still write Sherlock is so fat, but this has a lot of content inside it. It has text, it has font, it has font size. It has all of these values are now attached and applied to this text. So this is HTML, all right? Now, when you decide to create, here's a challenge. I will create a website using WordPad. I want to do that. It should be fun. God help us. Anyway, that being said, you see, when you want to create a new email here, for example, you know how they allow you to add a header and this and that. So this is an HTML editor too. What if I want an HTML, a beautifully designed text here? Can I do that? Yes. I personally did it because I'm a web designer. I need to know these things. You will never use this again. So this is the last, I promise you, this is the last thing I'm saying about the autoresponder here. But there is a tool, if I can remember. Yeah, Strippo. Strippo is a paid tool, but it should tell, it's one of the most popular things. Now, I know that, again, you may never use this option, and you may always use this option. I personally don't really do it. I don't use the editor here. What I do is that I design the email that I want in all shape and form and everything that I want here. It gives me the HTML code, which includes all the images and shadows and everything that I design. And I bring that to my Mailchimp and I drop it here, simply because it's more beautiful. So these are all the possibilities. I doubt any of you, I do encourage you to go ahead and try playing around with these, simply because one day, if for any reason you get locked out of your account on your CRM or for anything, you can always use this. But this only makes sense if you also use, this is how we see, this is how companies sell stuff. This is good if you also use mailing lists. Did you know that you can actually have backup of all of your mailing lists on your own server? And it doesn't even need to be on, I don't know, it doesn't need to be on Mailchimp or Aweber or anything else. You can actually create a mailing list, and every time that people email you, or you send email to people from, in this case, from anything at sketchpros.com, that contact will be saved here.
Wait, hold on. Quick question.
Yes.
You're paying my Aweber subscription.
Yeah.
Forgo that. I can just go to my cPanel and do it from there.
If you really would like to deal with all of this, then yeah. You don't need to pay any of those. You see, everything that, no, okay, that's too much. Not everything, but 90% of the features that these, like, let's say, again, I'm only giving the example of Mailchimp, but it applies to others too. The basic features that you get on a platform like this, they're all available here as well for free.
It replaces Active Campaign?
It replaces all of those, but only the email section of it. Like Active Campaign may have features that are on top of the email module. You know what I mean? So yeah. Here, creating this on Mailchimp, which is still not a very user-friendly platform, but creating this automation took me 5 to 7 minutes. Creating the same thing here will take me around 20 to 30 minutes. And this is me, okay? Exactly. So this is me knowing my ways. So I'm not telling you to replace. This is, again, I repeat, I started by saying nothing replaces CRMs. They are very good platforms. I myself use it, and I do recommend everybody to use it. If you have a business, you need to have one of these at least. But I'm just giving you this as a backup plan. So go on your servers, define your mailing lists here, okay? Let your mailing list grow here as well, automatically. Now, every time I'm creating, let's say, I'm setting up new hosting for my new clients, I set this up for them. They don't even know about it. So whenever you start, it's a Farsi saying, whenever you stop losing, you start winning, something like that. I don't know. Yeah. But anyway, it's difficult to translate. What I'm saying is, even if you turn this feature on today, it's better than 5 years later. So think of this as a backup of what you do, backup of your operations. Yes, the automation is easy to use. The mailing list is easy to use, but to connect them and make them work this way, every time somebody gets added to the mailing list, send them a new email, that could be a little tricky. Now, Liz, to answer your question a little better, this is actually sending an email, not to all of my list, but only a small section of my list. Okay. That automation is targeting only a segment. Let me just, I don't know, where is my contacts? Audience. Yeah, all contacts. That automation is only and only targeting, which one was it? Jesus Christ. No, not that. That is only targeting my Techmaster Academy, for example. I don't know. I couldn't find it right now. Segments. Ah, Jesus. That is only targeting one of these two. Okay. So you see on Mailchimp, this is on Aweber Active Campaign. This is very easy to do, right? Doing this and creating tags could be a little difficult here. Can you create tags and segments? Yeah, you still can. You have that feature, but integrating them would be a little difficult. Here, email filters. Okay. So once you have, you can create a filter and attach it to your mailing list. So basically, this is tagging or making a segment, and then attach that to your autoresponder. So again, everything that you see here is doable here. Absolutely. It's too much headache. I personally wouldn't do it.
Well, that answers that. I'm
There you
not
go.
using that. Wait.
But like I said, again, don't forget, I want you to log in to your hosting, go to email, go to mailing lists, and define a mailing list for your main domain, or define a separate mailing list for each one of your domains. Okay? Does it make sense? Every time you get subscribers on your website, they get added here. Every time people email you, they get added here. Every time you send email to people, they get added here. This is not organized in any way, nothing similar to Mailchimp or ActiveCampaign. Okay, those are way more organized and more user-friendly. But think of this as a bulk load of all the contacts you have ever had. So if for any reason all of your contacts get deleted, I don't know, somehow ActiveCampaign just dies, explodes, I don't know, you have a backup. This is all I'm saying. All right, guys, let's finish this. We talked about forwarders very quickly. They're very easy to set up as we took a look at them. We talked about dynamic accounts. We talked about autoresponders and mailing lists. Now it's the moment of truth, something that I always give and nobody does. It's okay. It's not a school. I cannot force you. But if you do, at least if you challenge yourself with these, you will know what you don't know. You will know where you're missing some information. As a business owner, you do need to know these, because the next two sessions, today's session 4, session 5, we're doing is debugging and troubleshooting, and session 6 we're doing SEO. We're done. Okay, so next session, which is debugging, that is the session I'm going to bring a broken web page. We're going to find the problems and fix it. We're going to pull people out of spam folders. We're going to do all of these things. So this is the whole point of this course. So try to do them. Even if you don't get to do it in these 6 weeks, make sure you do it after the 6 weeks. If you face any issues, share it on our Facebook group. I will respond. I guarantee you. I need you to learn this. Trust me, you need to learn this. I promise you. So first of all, check last week's homework and make sure your opt-in form is communicating with your CRM. If you remember, when we talked about integrations, we created a landing page, we created an opt-in form, and we connected that opt-in form to our CRM using API. You remember that? Go ahead and do that for yourself. Create a new, if you have not done last week's homework, do the last week's homework first, then get to this week's homework. That's why I created 2 different colors here. I knew that a lot of people haven't done last week's homework. So do that and make sure that automation, so that is a version of automation, correct? People write, so your CRM gets done. When that is done, go ahead and create a welcome email, just like I have done here. So In this case, I will just quickly show you. In Mailchimp, I went to campaigns. I added a new campaign, as you can see here, right? I said create campaign, and I said, okay, I want this to be an email. You see, design and send automated or regular emails to your contacts. Go ahead and make sure that it is connected to your new list. Make a new list if you can for this, just for this homework. Or if you don't have a list like this, if you don't have a CRM at all, Caesar, for example, I don't know if you personally have a CRM, but if you're like me, if you don't have one, then go ahead and actually open a Mailchimp for yourself. It's free. Up to 2,000 contacts is free. So I'm sure everybody can sign up for a free CRM. Sign up for it. If you're using Mailchimp, you cannot create multiple lists, but you can create multiple segments. So create your segments like we did. If you look at watch the previous sessions videos, you see that you can define a segment based on what the source is. If the source is the API you use to connect your opt-in form to this, then when people sign up for that opt-in form, they will land in that segment. Anyhow, connect it to your list and make sure that there's an automated welcome email going out to people who subscribe to your list or subscribe to your segments, preferably. People who use Aweber, I think you don't have segments, but you have tags. But, oh no, George, you can also create multiple lists, right? Good. Then create a new list for it if you can. List also, you can create a multiple lists, I think, in ActiveCampaign. If you can create a new list for this and create a welcome email for that. Once this is done, trust me, you can just change the content and use it for one of your actual landing pages. So you're not creating something for me, you're creating something for yourself. So that's number 1 and 2. That done. The orange ones apply to people who do have a hosting service. Now, I know everybody here has access to a hosting service, even if you don't own one. So please try and do it. Create a new business email for yourself on a cPanel, just like we did. And go and do the setup. So log in and select your email processor, Horde or Roundcube, whichever it is, set it as default, send an email, make sure it's all working properly and connect it to your email app. Speaking of which, we didn't really discuss that at all. It's not a time for that. Do you have one of these? How long does it take you to get your emails? Measure it. What does it mean? Very simple. Put it in front of yourself. Send an email to one of your email accounts that is set up on your phone. And then the moment you click send, start a timer. See how long it takes for your phone to show you your emails. Okay. Then install another app. My go-to app is called Blue Mail. Okay, I know it's available on both Apple and Android. I don't use Android's default email app. It's really crap. I will just tell you why. Here's a comparison. On the regular my phone's default app, it took sending an email from a Gmail to another Gmail. It took my phone like 12 seconds or 15 seconds to give the notification there's an email. With Blue Mail, it was 4 seconds. 4 seconds. So if you are in a line of work where you need to communicate like nonstop with your clients, if you want to get the notifications ASAP, then the default phone apps are not really that good. Try Blue Mail or some other app if you want. Anyway, so create it and set it up on your phone. Phones are usually easier, or set it up on your desktop. Set up a new autoresponder for this new email address. So basically, you're doing the same thing. Number 1 and 2 in purple, they are related to CRM. Number 1, 2, 3 in orange, they're related to the cPanel version. Create an autoresponder for that new email account. And go ahead and share this link, the link for your last week's homework, which most people haven't done. Share that link and this new email address in our Facebook group. I would like to send you an email and get an automatic response from you. Okay? Perfect. This is your homework, guys. So if you have questions, you know where to find me. Our Facebook support group is always open. I'm going to bring this session to an end. You're welcome to stay after I say goodbye for Q&A if you have any questions. But if not, I will see you next session.